Found out she drained $62,000 from my student fund, but your sister's going to Harvard. I found out my college fund was empty the day tuition was due. The woman at the registrar's office blinked at her screen, then at me. I'm sorry, she said, tilting her monitor. It says your account balance is zero. Zero. I stared at her, confused. That can't be right. My parents set up the fund years ago. It's supposed to cover all 4 years. She offered a polite, uncomfortable shrug. You'll need to talk to your financial contact. We can't release your schedule until your tuition clears. I walked out of the office in a daze. September air thick in my lungs. I pulled out my phone, called Mom, and said the words I never thought I'd have to say. Where's the money? There was a pause on the other end. Just one beat too long. Then she sighed, the kind of sigh that means she already knows exactly what you're talking about. I meant to talk to you about that, she said softly. But everything just happened so fast. What happened? Another pause. Your sister got into Harvard. My chest tightened. And she needed the money. It was too important to pass up. I didn't think. You took it? I redirected it. That fund was always for the family. No, I said, my voice shaking. It was for me. It had my name on it. I know, she said quickly. But you're at a state school. You got scholarships. You'll be fine. I felt like I'd been punched in the ribs. So because I worked hard to get help, I get punished for it? It's not punishment. It's priorities. You know how competitive Harvard is. We couldn't let her miss that opportunity. I sat down on a bench and stared at the sidewalk, the weight of $62,000 crashing over me like a wave. She hadn't just borrowed it. She'd given it away. To my sister. Who, I suddenly realized, had never even told me she'd applied. I didn't even know she got in, I said. When did this happen? April, Mom said quietly. 5 months ago. I was still in finals, still working 2 part-time jobs, still planning out my next semester assuming everything was covered. They knew. And they said nothing. We were going to make it up to you, she said. We just need time. I hung up without saying another word. Because time wasn't going to fix this. Money wasn't going to fix this. And for the first time in my life, I realized the difference between being part of a family and being used by one. But the worst part? My sister had known all along and said nothing. I didn't sleep that night. I kept thinking about every dinner we'd had that summer, every family group chat, every time my sister smiled at me across the room while I worked doubles and skipped weekends with friends just to make sure I had enough for textbooks. She knew. She knew they drained my fund. And she didn't say a word. By morning, I wasn't angry, I was clear. I texted her 2 words. We need to talk. She replied 10 minutes later. Hey. Sure. What's up? Fake casual. Like we were still normal. We met that afternoon at the coffee shop downtown, the one halfway between my campus and her pre-orientation Airbnb. She walked in wearing a Harvard hoodie, earbuds looped around her neck, full of the smug glow of someone freshly chosen by the world. Hey, she said, setting her phone on the table. So weird running into you like this. We didn't run into each other, I said. I texted you. She blinked. Right. I didn't waste time. You knew. Her smile dropped. Knew what? That Mom took the money. That you used it. That it wasn't hers to give. She sat back slowly. She told me it was coming out of a shared account. I assumed it was. It had my name on it. Since I was 13. Grandma set it up. I didn't know it was exclusively for you. Bull. She looked away. Okay. Fine. I knew. But I didn't ask for it. They offered. What was I supposed to do, say no to Harvard? Yes, I said. If it meant taking away everything I've spent the last decade working toward. I'm sorry, she said, but it didn't sound like it. It sounded like someone playing damage control. I leaned in. Do you know what it's like to walk into an office thinking you're okay and be told you have nothing? Because your own family bet on the kid with the shinier name? She stared at me. I get it, she said finally. You're mad. But you're you. You'll land on your feet. You always do. Me? I needed this. And there it was. The family motto. Unspoken, but deeply embedded. You're fine. She needs it more. Not because she earned it. Not because she struggled harder. But because her failure was everyone's fear. And my success? Always assumed. I stood up. You'll pay it back, I said. She raised a brow. Excuse me? I want the full $62,000. I don't care how. I don't care when. But you knew. And you said nothing. So you're just as responsible. She scoffed. I'm a student. What do you expect me to do, drop out? I stared at her. No, I said. But I do expect you to stop pretending you didn't steal something just because you didn't pull the trigger. And then I walked out. The next day, I called Grandma's lawyer. The account wasn't just set up for my education, it was protected under a trust. The kind that couldn't legally be transferred without my signature. And guess what? There was a signature on file. Mine. But I had never signed anything. Not for that. Not ever. And suddenly, this wasn't just betrayal. It was fraud. The signature was neat. Too neat. I don't write like that. Never have. I met with Grandma's lawyer, Mr. Redford, in his narrow office stacked with dusty leather folders and photos of him shaking hands with people in suits. He pulled up the digital transfer forms on his monitor, then slid a printed version across the desk. According to this, he said, tapping the page, you signed off on the release of the funds in March. I stared at my name. Slanted letters. Perfect spacing. It's not mine, I said flatly. That's not how I sign anything. He nodded once. Like he already knew. We had our doubts, he admitted. But your mother said you couldn't come in personally and gave power of attorney to expedite things. My stomach dropped. She what? She signed an affidavit. Claimed you were traveling, unreachable, and that she had verbal consent. I laughed. Not because it was funny, because I suddenly felt the terrifying weight of how easy it was to be erased when people think you won't fight back. Can you reverse it? I asked. Technically, yes. If the signature was forged and the power of attorney was obtained fraudulently, this falls under civil, possibly criminal, territory. Then let's reverse it. He gave me a long, careful look. Do you understand what this means? He asked. It won't just be your sister who's affected. This puts your mother in legal jeopardy. The trust will pursue reimbursement. There could be charges. I nodded. My throat was tight, but steady. She chose her risk the day she signed my name. He leaned back. I'll start the process. But be prepared, once we file, you can't take it back. That night, Mom called. I didn't pick up. She called again. Then she texted. We need to talk. I didn't think it would go this far. I didn't reply. Instead, I texted my sister. You'll be getting a letter from Redford and Maynard. Might want to check your inbox tomorrow. She read it. Didn't respond. The filing went through the next morning. By that evening, I had 3 missed calls, 1 tearful voicemail, and an email from my dad, who hadn't said a word about any of this, begging me not to tear the family apart over money. But it wasn't about money. It was about worth. Mine. For the first time, I wasn't just reacting. I was responding. Drawing a line in the sand that couldn't be blurred by guilt or birthday cards or quiet family dinners where no one talks about what really happened. A week later, I received confirmation that the trust had frozen the disbursed funds and initiated reimbursement requests. Legal proceedings were pending. My sister sent me one final message. Congratulations. You nuked the family. Hope it was worth it. I didn't reply. Because the thing about nukes? They don't destroy what's already broken. They just make it impossible to keep pretending it's whole. But what happened next? Even I didn't see coming. 2 weeks after the legal filing, I got a letter. Handwritten. No return address, but I knew that script immediately. Grandma. I opened it slowly, heart pounding. The paper was thick. Old. Folded with care. Sweetheart. If you're reading this, it means something has gone wrong. I told Redford to give you this only if your education fund was ever tampered with. I want you to know, I saw you. I believed in you. That account was not just money, it was my promise. No one, not even family, has the right to take what you earned. If they did, fight. I raised strong women. You're proof of that. With all my love. Grandma. I had to sit down. I hadn't realized how much I needed her voice until it reached out from the past and wrapped around me like armor. This wasn't just about the $62,000 anymore. It was about the girl she raised. The woman I was becoming. The principal. A month later, the case settled privately. The trust confirmed the signature was forged. My mother avoided charges by agreeing to a full repayment plan monthly, with interest and relinquishing control of all remaining family financial accounts. Lisa withdrew from Harvard. She posted a carefully worded mental health break announcement on Instagram and went quiet. I heard she moved in with a friend out of state. No one from the family talked about it. At least not where I could hear. But the silence, for once, wasn't mine to carry. I deferred my semester. Picked up an extra job. Got a small emergency grant. It wasn't ideal, but I made it work without anyone's help. And when I walked back onto campus that spring, I wasn't just a student. I was a survivor of something that tried to convince me I didn't matter. The last time I saw my mom, she was standing on the porch of the house I grew up in. She looked smaller than I remembered. Older. Exhausted. I never meant to hurt you, she said. I just wanted both my daughters to have a chance. You gave her mine, I said. She nodded. I know. We stood there for a long time. Then I said goodbye. And left. Not with bitterness. Not with vengeance. But with clarity. Because I didn't ruin the family. I rescued myself from it.